Hello and welcome to Morning Call for Monday, the 18th of March 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg. I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm sorry I didn't do a show for so long. It's been really crazy. So yeah, I hope this won't happen as often. Last week I had to go very quickly. Had to go to Hanover to host a stage at the SEC IT conference that Heise put on for the second year, and yeah, I got a job. Freelancer sometimes it's on short notice, so I had to do that. So I had to travel a bit or be on the road and stuff, and couldn't really do the show. But I hope that won't happen as often. It will happen again this week, though. I got another commitment this week, which I knew of beforehand. But I'll still do a show on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm guessing. So there will be shows, and after that, I hope I can do another full week. Anyway, let's get into the tech news. That's the top tech news. That's why you are here, I'm guessing. And of course, a lot has happened over the weekend. A lot has happened generally. I missed quite a lot because of that commitment there. But still, I saw a lot fly by. I think I recapped the most important part. So let's get into this. On the saga of the Boeing 737 MAX 8, it now looks like this crash we had last week does look like the earlier crash. So they have the black box recorders. They have apparently a lot of data on this crash, and they are currently investigating. Of course, the 737 MAX 8 has been grounded pretty much everywhere. There's reports of the control tower chatter with the airport in Addis Ababa that the control tower the pilot said very early on that he was having problems. About a minute into the flight, told ATC about it. They put some other planes in a holding pattern, and then instructed this plane to go back to the airport, which apparently it couldn't do. And they're still investigating this. Apparently some experts in Paris have the black box recorders. This is pretty big for Boeing. I mean there was that crash in Indonesia, and now this one, and it's Boeing. Their share price suffered a lot. They can't, the MAX 8 has been grounded everywhere. It's been selling really well so far, apparently, and now it's obviously they can't. I mean, they're still producing them, but they can't sell them. They have said they're working on a software update. There aren't any details about this. So the just to recap quickly, the theory is that what we know is that the 737 MAX 8 has different software than the previous versions. And the theory being that the MCAS system, a system designed to a software system designed to stabilize the plane in case of it just stalling abruptly. It's like getting wrong data and is overcompensating, and therefore might cause the plane to crash right after takeoff. At least that's what the theory is, what happened in these two cases. And we'll see. It sounds really bad. I mean, but can they fix this with a software update? Probably. It will probably take a while. Would I be comfortable in a 737 MAX 8 after the software update? I'm not sure. I mean, there's constant talks that they want to have self-flying planes and more AI in planes, and just the Pilot Association Cockpit has just recently said that that's a bad idea. I mean, look at this. I mean, there've been several dangerous or like fatal accidents in the last few years where like software that is designed to help pilots doesn't help them and works against the pilots, or even like in this case it looks like it causes the plane to crash. I don't think, like a minute after takeoff, I don't think the plane is high enough for this system to kick in, even if the plane was stalling. And I'm guessing here from everything I've read that they weren't stalling. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on this. I'm interested in aviation anyway, so I'm following this. By the way, shout out to my former colleagues at Heise here, who put a picture of a Boeing 737 MAX on this story I'm talking about, but it's a MAX 9. It says so on the tail fin. There's a big 9 there. So that's a picture of the in development version, the 737 MAX 9, not the 737 MAX 8, which is the one having the problems. Hint: look at the tail fin next time. I thought that was hilarious. I was looking up the story this morning. I thought, somebody was fast asleep there, or thought the readers would notice. I noticed. Then of course the other big story that's impacting tech, and that's a very sad story, is the one of those terror attacks in New Zealand. And the guy, obviously, like by all accounts, a right-wing terrorist, kind of like Anders Breivik kind of dude, actually from Australia. Is actually from Queensland, really like the town he's born. I've been to often. Really sad. And this whole thing obviously is like really bad, but like the tech angle is that he live streamed, I guess on Facebook, live streamed the attacks, and like the media was like, some media actually published the videos, and obviously the videos were on Facebook, and Facebook's now saying they have deleted these videos 1.5 million times in the first 24 hours. I mean, lots of these were also the cut versions, probably put out by a news organization, which Facebook says is deleted out of consideration for the victims' families. This is gonna have serious repercussions, because already like New Zealand politicians are saying, we need to talk to Facebook about live streaming, and I can already foresee that this will like impact on live streaming sites, together with like this upload filter shit we have going on in the EU. This will cause regulators to want to kick in and not allow people to live stream stuff, I'm guessing, which I think is the wrong it's a wrong approach to this. Obviously, this is a very, very sad story and a horrible situation, but I don't think like the live streaming is at fault. Here, this is one guy who used it, and of course it will be used in the future for stuff like this. That's the downside with technology. It can be used for bad stuff as well, but I mean, I think all the good that people do with streaming outweighs that. But tell that to a politician. They're already in New Zealand saying they want to now changed gun laws, which I guess is that is a sensible approach. I mean, this guy bought weapons legally. I don't know if he bought some of the weapons seem to be semi-automatic weapons that they haven't figured out where he got it from, but it's conceivable that he bought these weapons legally, and I think it's okay for like the legislators to go. We need to change the laws. Problem is, they're saying we wanna basically do this now. Like, we need a few weeks, and then we're working on this. And it's like, yeah, maybe you wanna. I mean, I get changing laws makes sense here. I mean, Australia did this famously in the 90s after those school shootings, really bad school shooting there. And I mean, yeah, but like maybe just calm down a bit and let everybody cool off and don't change these laws in effect would be my thing. Same with like streaming and technology. And let's think about this. I mean, this it's a bad thing, but let's think about this calmly. Yeah, really really bad all around. Speaking of bad, Bloomberg Businessweek published a very interesting story. Actually, I'm just seeing now, this is last week. This is one of the things I kind of, missed when I was on the road, but I read it yesterday and I thought this is really interesting and should really report on this. So apparently Elon Musk, so Businessweek published a story about last year about Musk. They write a lot about Tesla and about the super factory they have in Nevada where they produce batteries and parts. And apparently there was lots of waste and stuff just lying around on the factory floor. Huge factory, really hard to staff. Apparently, like they spun it up so quickly that apparently there was complete chaos. They couldn't vet employees correctly and stuff like that. And Bloomberg published a story on this, like on like batteries just lying around and damaged batteries, and basically kind of saying what happens if these are built into cars and stuff. And that report didn't really take off last year. There wasn't a lot of press attention, but it turns out that Bloomberg got his information from a guy, whistleblower within the company called Martin Tripp, who went to a Bloomberg reporter who was writing stories about Tesla and gave her information about this. She published that story, and apparently Musk went completely nuclear and tried to figure out who the whistleblower was. Then they had an internal security team, like basically tail him, surveil him. There were allegations that actually I think this is pretty. I mean, this is reliable that they like took his computer like under the guise of installing a software update for him and his colleagues, and just basically did a security audit on it. But there are also claims that they, like when HR was and the security guys were interrogating him, that they could, like in the breaks, could read his phone messages. And this is all based on the I guess another whistleblower who's come out and who's caused the second Bloomberg story from last week, who is a security, who I guess was head of security at Tesla and then got fired. Tesla says his work reports weren't like satisfactory. He says no, that's not why they fired me. He's an ex like Marine guy, so he's seen some shit, but he's saying like the stuff I saw there, the stuff they did to this Tripp guy, I couldn't live with that. His name is Sean Guthrow. It's like if you look at the guy, I mean he looks hardcore. He could be like in the Hells Angels as well. So for that guy to kind of bulk on things he's doing, I guess there's some crazy shit must have been going on. And he basically says that Musk went after the guy, and tried to destroy him. And actually, they allegedly faked an anonymous call saying the guy was going to come back after they fired him, come back to they sued him. They fired him, then sued him, and then they allegedly faked like this call where they said he's going to come back to the factory and shoot it up and stuff like this. It's a mad story. Apparently, like, this security guy also says about the factory that, like, there's like people dealing meth and taking cocaine in the bathrooms, and it's like Wild West, and everybody's like sleeping in their cars in the parking lot overnight, and like they're having sex in parts of the factory that hadn't been finished and shit like that. And like the security guy was trying to deal with all that, and then Musk was like going like, we need to ruin this guy, we need to chase him down and stuff like that. It's a very interesting story. There's other sources quoted on it. Obviously, like, it's investigative reporting, so it's hard to like know if everything is true. But it's a fascinating story. So if you haven't read it, story's called "When Elon Musk Tried to Destroy a Tesla." Whistleblower on Bloomberg Business News is well worth a read. Fascinating story. In Germany, of course, in Europe, we're having the copyright reform debate. I talked about this before at length. Just quickly mentioning here a thing that's happening that is like really weird. So the CDU, German Conservative Party, who is pushing this reform, and for the longest time said it would not result, like, these laws would not result in upload filters. They were getting pushed by journalists about this, and never really had any answers. Journalists were basically saying, okay, but you're saying this isn't upload filters, but this is what will happen. And it looks to me like it's inevitable. And, CDU politicians could never like, they didn't have a comeback where they would like could explain why it wouldn't cause upload filters. Anyway, it seems like that's all bullshit, because CDU is now saying that they want to have like different laws in Germany when this passes. So they're basically admitting that it will be upload filters, and instead of stopping the law, they're like saying, well, we'll just change it in Germany. We have like special licenses that, like, blanket licenses that cover stuff, and so that we won't have upload filters. But it's like, guys, you're admitting that your law is shit. Stop the stupid law, like, on the EU level. Good morning, ASCII. How are you doing? Yeah, people are just trickling in now. I guess people are thinking I'm never gonna come back doing these. can't really blame you. By the way, just wanna say, still, as always, thanks to all the subscribers and everybody holding out here for me to come back. As I said before, there will be some disruption in service later in the week as well, but I'll continue to do this show. Anyway, this is just hilarious. This should show you, if the biggest proponent of the law are saying we're going to change it for us locally, it's a shitty law. Do not pass this law. In cryptocurrency news, because everybody loves cryptocurrency news, Mark Karpeles, the CEO of, or ex-CEO of the failed Mt. Gox exchange, has been convicted in Japan, and he's gotten 4 years in jail, but it's like suspended sentence. It's like he's on parole, so he's free as long as he doesn't do anything bad. He's not gonna have to go to jail. Oh no, it's just 2 years 6 months he would be in jail. 4 years he's on parole for this. He's a French guy. Mt. Gox, very famous. Like, famously, originally used to be the MTG. Like, Mt. Gox MTG comes from Magic the Gathering. It was like a Magic the Gathering card exchange, which this guy bought and then turned into a Bitcoin exchange, which got hacked, or that's what he says. and lost all its money. But it looks like the guy was like, this lawsuit wasn't about the hack, and how the hack happens is basically just on the mismanagement that he was perpetuating inside the company. He's been alleged to have stolen 2.7 million euros in bitcoins. Apparently, he was now convicted that he's now convicted of having done transactions worth 33.5 million US dollars to US accounts. And apparently this had something to do with the hack and just trying to get money off. So it's still not sure if it was hacked, but like there's a security, a cryptocurrency security company by the amazing name of, what was their name again? WizSec, Wizard Security. We're security wizards. Security wizards. Had to do that for the YouTube thumbnail. Anyway, they're saying, yeah, they think it was hacked. There was a Russian cryptocurrency exchange called BTC-E, and a Russian guy called Alexander Vinnik, who they're saying was a key person in this hack. Very interesting. This was a story I remember following when I worked at Heise. You know, Mt. Gox kind of like the first big casualty in cryptocurrency. Also like hilarious because he said he didn't have any money and then he found a few million down his couch and stuff like that. I think this one Heise. I mean, even before that, I think we followed this on Linux Outlaws back in the day. Interesting. It's like there's lots of shady people in Bitcoin. Generally, like in cryptocurrency, aren't there? It's just like a gold rush. There's those shady people. Anyway, the Swiss government is keen on e-voting, and yeah, I've been recently asked what I think of e-voting, and I will again give a quick statement that will, I'll tell you about it very quickly in a bit. But like, they are keen on e-voting. They have an e-voting system which has some crypto, like even some new stuff. They invented a system which they call universal verifiability or something like this. Basically, they have a system which is supposed to emulate the paper, like the recounting of paper ballots. So if you vote normally on paper, it gets counted, of course, and you have a result. And then if people have reasonable doubt on that result, you can do a recount, and you can recount all the paper. And you'd usually count it slower and count it very carefully. And they want to have come up with a system how in a completely electronic system you can have that as well. I do not know how that works. I've been following I follow Matthew Green on Twitter, who's a great cryptologist. And he keeps posting about this, and just like he kept posting that even he didn't understand what the system was and how it worked. So yeah, that doesn't fill me with confidence. But the Swiss have done a good thing here from the beginning. They said, okay, we'll have a public pen test, right? Which is a good thing. We want the public to look at this. This is a system for the Swiss public, and we want everybody to look at this and poke at this, and people are doing. And the bad signs are there are of course vulnerabilities in here. So they're saying they found a vulnerability where the ballots could have been altered. The Swiss post office, who's running this thing, who's designing this thing, pointed out that only officials of the post office could have altered votes, and that because of that, that is not as bad. They also said this system has never been used, like this universal verifiability. I guess the vulnerabilities in that system has never been used. I don't know how that's the defense, because obviously you want to use it at some point. And also that only people at the post office can manipulate votes. I think there are many instances in history where where the voting fraud has happened on the side of the current administration and their employees. So I'm not sure that is any consolation. So I'm just saying, Aski says they would never do that, wink. Yeah, why would the state manipulate votes? Why would they? Might want to ask the Bolshevik party that. No, yeah, I don't. Why? My question is, why are you doing? Why? Why e-voting? Like when people ask me, what do you think about e-voting? I'm like, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. There's no fucking reason to do it. No reason. Our voting system works. It works. And if you don't want to go to a ballot place, that's I haven't been. I vote in every election. In every German election, the local elections, I vote all the time. And I haven't been in a ballot box for 20 years, I guess. I vote by letter. You can go, you can say, I want to vote from home, and they'll send you all your stuff. You vote, and you send it back in, and then it also gets there quicker. They can count it earlier. It's a win-win for everybody. It works. It's easy to do. They send you paper. You do a few crosses. You put the envelopes. The hardest thing is putting the envelopes together in the right order. But they have like a IKEA instruction manual for that, basically, and it even I can do it. Anybody can do it. It works, and it's like, why? I mean, yes, you save some bureaucracy. You would probably save some paper. You might get more people voting. Yes, but weigh all of that against it being hackable, because every system is hackable. Every system we know, every digital system can be hacked. Anyone. I mean, they had like this voting system years ago in the US where like, this is unhackable. And that's when people invented return-oriented programming. Everything can be hacked. Don't do it. Don't do it. Our democracy is, I would say, it's worth a few trees dying. And it's worth you getting off your ass and putting a few crosses on a piece of paper and sending that off in the mail. Like the other thing is like, if that burden is too high for you, right? If you want to vote like on an app, like swipe left, swipe left for the Bolsheviks and right for the Nazis, right? If you want that, maybe these people should be voting, I mean, I would be okay if you said no paper voting. You have to go to a ballot box. Get off your ass and go to the fucking ballot box, And if you live in the UK and you can't vote because it's in the week, just do the fucking elections on a Sunday. That's what we do in Germany. It works. Even this Catholic, or half of the country is like Catholic, but even those people went like, okay, maybe our democracy is more important than the fucking, like, religious rules that say you can't do anything on a Sunday. And we adhere to those in Germany very strictly. You can't buy anything here on a Sunday. But, even they did that. Why? Just fuck. Speaking of that, in Tübingen, the government, the local government in this German town, came up with an app because they want to ask when they have, I guess, not elections, but local, like, policy decisions where you can give input to the city. And, to be fair, in these things, people never bother to do anything because you have to go like to the city hall and then post the stuff in the city hall, and sometimes you can vote and a lot of people don't do, and it's like shit. But like, their solution was have an app so people can just tell us stuff with the app. What could possibly go wrong? Let me tell you, your app will be hacked because whoever made that app made it for a government office, and they probably didn't pay them much, and it's probably be shit. It's probably be coded by some, not that I want to slide any programmers in India, but probably some programmers in India who put all the source code on an open AWS bucket somewhere or something. I don't know. It's gonna be hacked. Don't do this shit. I mean, I'm all for making it easier for people to interact in democracy, but like think about it, like a little bit. Anyway, before I go into massive rants and this show goes too long, people don't want that. We're gonna go out with 2 more news, gaming news. Funny, and then a good news story. So the first one is Steam, Valve is saying a year ago or something, they overhauled their review system to combat review bombs. And they're saying they're overhauling it again now. And they want to fight review bombs, which have been a problem on Steam. I mean, if you don't know, Steam has user reviews, and review bombs is when people are going like, for example, Metro Exodus recently got review bombed because it was on Steam. You could pre-order it on Steam, and then like 2 weeks before it was released, the company said, well, we're gonna pull it off Steam. It's now an Epic Store exclusive, and you haven't pre-ordered until now. You can't buy it on Steam. Of course, people could still review it on Steam, and they fucking review bombed it, and I can completely understand, because Alifa is posting a monkey emoji. Review monkeys. It's, in this case, I think they deserved it. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they review, oh no, it's like FPS, it's like it has a frame rate limiting or something, or like there's some political reason or whatever. Okay, so review bombings generally are a problem, but Valve didn't care about them for the longest time, and they started caring at some point. Now they're stepping it up. And they're building a new system where they have an AI system, machine learning system that detects anomalous reviews, and then it doesn't do anything. It just pings like a team at Valve who looks at that and tries to figure out if it's what they call an off-topic review bomb. And an off-topic, let me see, wait, where did I? So they're basically, so what's an off-topic review bomb? But while easy to say, it raises a bunch of questions. So let's dig into the details. Valve's posting here, like saying in the blog post. First, what do we mean by an off-topic review bomb? As we defined back in our original post, a review bomb, this is from a few months ago, is where players post a large number of reviews in a short period of time aimed at lowering the review score of a game. We define an off-topic review bomb. Okay, that's a review bomb. And we define an off-topic review bomb as one where the focus of those reviews is on a topic that we consider unrelated to the likelihood that future purchasers will be happy if they buy the game, and hence not something that should be added to the review score. So if you, in this definition, if you review bomb Metro Exodus because you can't buy it anymore on Steam, it's an off-topic review bomb because, I mean, it's a weird case, but the people who could buy it, I mean, they can't buy it on Steam, but that doesn't influence this. Or if you, for example, if there was a hypothetical game and Valve determined that it gotten review bombed, because the company that was making the game had some like weird HR practices. Let's say they were known to not represent minorities and just bully. Let's say they bully women employees or something. That would be an off-topic review bomb if the game got review bombed because of that, because it doesn't impact you enjoying the game, right? Like if you buy the game, it doesn't have anything to do with the game. It just has something to do with the company and the wider social implications of that. And while that is a thing to have a discussion about, it doesn't like impact your immediate enjoyment of the game. Now, Valve is deciding what that is. It's okay, it's their platform, but it's just keep that in mind. What I find interesting, what I'm asking myself, is this happening because Artifact recently got massively review bombed, or is still being review bombed? Like if we look on Steam here, I didn't prepare this, of course. So look at Artifact. is the card game I reported on this that yeah, if I can't spell Artifact, then I won't be able to find it. You know, the Valve's own card game designed by Richard Garfield. Yeah, if you look at that, recent reviews are overwhelmingly negative, or reviews mixed. So it's been like Artifact is being review bombed. There was a review bomb because of the economy. Like, people don't like how many cards you get, like that you can't, or initially couldn't earn cards without paying for them, or still can't. I don't know. Anyway, people don't like the way you have to buy cards and stuff. So I'm kind of wondering, is this connected? Is it not? Seems to me at least suspiciously close to each other. In other Steam news, just the last story, some very good news. Dwarf Fortress is coming to Steam. Can't wait to buy it there. So Dwarf Fortress is a free game that two brothers have been... it's a roguelike ASCII graphics game that two brothers have been developing for years. It's massively complicated, massively hard, and they live off donations from players. You can get the game for free. It is now coming to Steam, and I think it'll cost what, $10? They were saying €10, something like that, maybe 20. And they have said the free version will still be available, but the Steam version will have better graphics. So if you go to Steam, they have like a trailer where you can see like the ASCII graphics, and then you can see like the modern sprite-based graphics. It uses some kind of you can actually run it in Linux in a terminal, but it uses some kind of like its own graphics version. I think you can run it in Cursors, but per default on Windows and also on Linux, it spawns its own window and draws its own ASCII graphics. And for a long time, there have been tile sets. Like, you could, I play Dwarf Fortress on and off, and you can install this, like mod managers you can install, and then you can install very, very, very different tile sets. So these are things the community has developed generally, and they made the tiles, and it will just use a sprite basically in case of the ASCII symbol. And the Steam version is coming with one of those. It looks quite good, actually. I don't know which one it is. I'm guessing they took a community. I don't think they coded their own. I'm guessing they took a community sprite set that already existed and just incorporated that. Yes, has a Cursors graphics front end. Used to play over SSH with it, says Eric Wendner in the chat. Hello, never seen your name before. Yes, I used to play it in Cursors as well. I was just gonna point out that isn't the default way. I mean, there's some. I can remember back when I was doing this on Linux, and I was using. I basically had the same use case. I was running it on a server and then connecting to it with SSH. So I just only needed SSH wherever I wanted to connect to it, which is quite handy. But it had back then. It had some weird glitches sometimes running over Cursors. Eric looks like he says 2 of the graphics pack designers created an all new tile set from the community. So yeah, that looks cool. I think this is cool. I mean, you don't have to buy it. You can still run it for free. You could probably get that tile set or a very similar one for free, install it all yourself. First time in chat, thank you, Daylight Saving. If you're in the EU, don't get used to it. Oh no, you're not in the EU, right? We don't have Daylight Savings time now. Where's that? Australia? Anyway, yeah. Don't get used to it. The EU is changing Daylight Savings time, so it might be, who knows? US EST. Oh, it's US Daylight Savings time. So yeah, cool. Yeah. That's the other thing the EU is messing with. So I don't know what'll happen in a few years, but time zones, yay! Anyway, yeah, I think this is really cool. I mean, you don't have to buy it. You can still get it all for free, I guess. But I'll buy it. I got so much enjoyment out of these games, and these guys are true indies. I mean, they've been going. How long's been Dwarf Fortress in development? Let me just quickly look that up. It must be almost 20 years now, right? Initial release 2006, so 12 years ago. But I think they've been developing it for a while longer, right? Anyway, they've been doing this for ages. They're like actually true indies, completely independent, just two mad guys doing this. And I think supporting people like this is great thing. Yeah, if you're interested in this, is fascinating. I read a book once on Dwarf Fortress, how to play it. It was really cool. And if you look at the Wikipedia article, it's like massive. It explains how it like generates the world. I mean, every time you start a new world, it just not only generates a topology, but like mythology and all this kind of races and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, those are the two brothers, Tan and Zach Adams, who are doing it. It's just a fascinating game. Has influenced quite a lot of other games and roguelikes and stuff. Fascinating stuff. The EST people are fist bumping in the chat. That's cool. Nice to have some people from the US watching, actually. That is some seriously early time for you. I mean, this for me, this is like 10:44 now. That I still feel that's early, but but I'm a journalist, as my dad used to say. You got the only, or says you have the only job where you can get up later than a student, and he is too. Anyway, this show's been very long. I think I've just been making up for the time I've missed, but that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you are having a good day. Looks actually quite nice. We had lots of storms here in Hamburg, or generally in Germany over the last few days. And this morning it looked like really gray and horrible, but now it's sunny, so might go out a bit later. Anyway, have a nice day, and I'll see you tomorrow for more tech news. Until then, download some Dwarf Fortress, play some Dwarf Fortress. Always a good idea. Goodbye.